Welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast, the podcast to help you become your most confident queer self. I'm your host, he, she, they, Coach Alex Ray, and I haven't always been this confident. In fact, I used to be super insecure. And through this show, I want to share with you what's worked for me, my clients, and my guests so that you can become more confident. Hey there, welcome back. What's up, my friend? Today we are going to be talking about imposter syndrome. I love this topic. I've talked about it many times on many different platforms. I did an episode on it with the old podcast, and I am so excited to talk with you about it again today because imposter syndrome was something that I struggled with deeply on my own journey to becoming confident and did not understand really that it was something that everyone went through. So let's first start by just getting a clear definition of what imposter syndrome is, okay? So imposter syndrome is this belief that you are faking it, that you don't belong in the room, and you have a fear that you might be found out. This is really common, especially when you are changing industries. It's also, I'm finding, extremely common in our queer community because we're so used to being told that we don't belong. We walk into a room and we think, whether it's true or not, we go ahead and we think that, hey, everyone else here could not possibly understand me. They're not like me. And I definitely don't belong here. They've got more knowledge than I do, more experience than I do. They know what's up, and I don't. So that is what we're going to solve for today. You're going to leave this episode knowing exactly what how to get rid of imposter syndrome in your life. And we have to start, though, by first understanding what identity is. And what most of you think is that your identity is what other people know you as. You think that identity is what everyone else is aware of. It's maybe your career. It's maybe your being a parent. It's maybe, connected to your hobbies. It's maybe even connected to your sexuality. But I want to let you know that identity is not cold and hard facts. Identity is just thoughts. Your identity is thoughts that you have about yourself. And you've practiced those thoughts over and over, and they've become a belief. That's all your identity is. It's not something complicated. You don't need to go out there and receive any kind of approval to have a different identity. Your identity is just thoughts that you have about yourself. Now, what most people suggest when you are experiencing imposter syndrome, when you think you don't belong in the arena, is fake it till you make it. And I have to tell you, this is the worst advice. Because unless you're an actor, how could it possibly be easier to believe that you're great at acting, but not great at being? And it takes you out of the opportunity for transformation. It takes you out of the opportunity to actually build your confidence in your identity because you're telling yourself, oh, I'm faking it, I'm faking it, I'm faking it. It's always pretend. And you could keep evolving and you will keep believing that it's up to other people's interpretation, right? That's what faking it implies, is that you have to make other people believe it before it can actually possibly be true. And it's really funny, like, again, like I said, how can you be a great actor if acting isn't even what your thing is, right? Like, I don't want to be great at acting like a coach. I want to be a coach. I don't want to be great at acting like, what's a thing that I do? a lover of fitness and outdoors, right? Or somebody that enjoys that space. I want to actually be that person. That is part of me. Those are thoughts that I have about myself, is that is a space that I belong in. But it wasn't always that way. I didn't always believe that I belonged. When I first started, I was like, ooh, man, looking around at all these other people, especially I'll go to CrossFit for an example. I was looking around at all the other people and thinking, oh my gosh, they're so much fitter than me. They're so much more experienced than me. Of course they are, because they've been doing it longer. They have more experience. It doesn't make you any less of it. It doesn't make you belong less. Because again, you're believing that your identity or where you belong is up to other people to determine. And it's not. It's up to your thoughts. So I love this illustration of a brain surgeon. Okay. And I want you to actually answer this in your head. So I'm going to pause after I ask the question. When does a brain surgeon become a brain surgeon? You can answer that. Most of you probably have said after they graduate from school, or after they've performed their first surgeries, or maybe even like after having successfully passed, several surgeries. And I'm sure there's like a panel or whatever. I don't know how to become a brain surgeon. I never looked into it. I know you have to go to school. I know you have to get like certified by a board or something, I assume. Okay. But I want to challenge you on when that person actually became a brain surgeon. They became a brain surgeon the moment that they decided. And that was before school. Think about it. And probably you, I don't know, do I have any brain surgeons listening? For all of you who are not brain surgeons, you never went to school to learn how to become a brain surgeon. Why would you? You'd only do it if you already believed that was who you were. That was who you are becoming. That's the only reason you do it. So it actually doesn't make sense to believe that we don't belong in the space until we have a certain amount of experience. Because the brain surgeon, again, was a brain surgeon before even going to school. They went to school because they're a brain surgeon. They didn't become a brain surgeon because they went to school. They started practicing. They got a degree. They got, board certified or whatever. But their identity as a brain surgeon started long before the first class. And your identity is not reliant on being accepted by the other people in the room. It's not reliant on having a certain amount of experience. You identify before you even go and show up. So you already do belong. It's a room full of creators. You wouldn't have signed up to be there if you weren't also a creator, right? It's a room full of gamers. You wouldn't have signed up to be there if you were not already a gamer. Even if you're just beginning. Now, another interesting thing that I've encountered when when coaching my clients on this, is that oftentimes we will have insecurities around certain parts of our identity, right? We keep having this story that we don't belong. We feel like an imposter. We're in that imposter syndrome. And then we get really upset when someone challenges us on belonging. They challenge our decision making, maybe. And I just want to point out for you for a moment that isn't it funny that we get so frustrated? You get so frustrated with that person, but they're agreeing with you. They're agreeing with you that you don't belong, and you're frustrated with them because of that. And then the people that tell you you belong, you don't believe. So the only thing between you feeling like you belong or not is just understanding that your thoughts determine your identity. Who you are is who you think you are. And it's also interesting. There's a quote. I'm going to have to cite it in the show notes because I can't remember who said it off the top of my head. But there's a quote that says, "I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am." Or am I saying that right? I am not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. Yes. We put so much weight into what other people think about us. But I want you to notice within that, it's just thoughts that we have about what other people are thinking. It is not actually what the other people are thinking. And so it has to start with your thoughts about yourself, which will then become what you think other people think about you as well. But it comes with time. It comes with practice. Sometimes it's very quick. Sometimes it takes a little longer. I want you to be patient with your brain in the process of actually going from thought to belief. Because all a belief is just a thought practiced over and over. So there are 3 stages that I personally went through when I was, finding my identity in certain areas. I know one of them was in CrossFit, being someone who is athletic, which I had never thought about myself before that, really. Being a coach when I was doing nutrition and fitness coaching. Being a life coach when I switched to doing exactly what I'd always dreamed of doing. And the first stage was that belief of faking it till you make it. I believed it. Everyone told me that's what you do. You just fake it till you make it, right? And then, actually, now that I'm saying it, I want to go back a moment. I'd learned this lesson, I think, by the time I became a coach. Let me apply it to fitness for you, because this is where it really stuck out for me. Okay? You're getting it in real time, my friend. So, when I started working out, I'd never been in a gym before. I was 18 or 19, I don't really remember. And I very much felt like I had not belonged. So I started going to a gym, and I believed that I would just have to fake it because everyone else certainly belonged. I was the newbie. I didn't know what I was doing. I was afraid to look stupid in front of them. That's why I never wanted to go into a gym. Okay. So I started faking it till I made it because that's what everyone said you had to do. And then I had this realization that basically everyone there was faking it. No one there was this crazy, awesome expert. They didn't know all of the things. Turns out kind of everyone was faking it. And then I started understanding that my identity is just thought. And that really didn't get solidified as a concept until maybe a little over a year ago for me. Seriously, like in 2019, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, it was like, oh, wait a minute. My thoughts are actually my identity, not what the other people think about me. Isn't that interesting? And what that allows you to do is to feel so much more confident because you're not waiting for permission or validation from another person. You can walk into the room and not wait to be approved as the person that belongs, because you know that belonging or having the identity is not reliant on the other people. You can go into the room knowing this is who I am. Like that brain surgeon. Go in, go study, go meet the other brain surgeons before you even go to class. I don't need to compare myself to anyone else to find out if I belong. And you don't need to either. And what I highly recommend for you is that you skip right to step 3 of those stages of like faking it, then realizing everyone's faking it, and then understanding that it's just your thoughts that create your identity. Skip past the first 2. They're crap. They're not helping you. They're not useful. And trust this. Know that your identity is just thoughts that you have about yourself. And that practiced thought becomes belief. And beliefs become very easy thoughts. They just come naturally to you. So you have permission right now to say exactly who you are. And you don't have to be the full form of that right now, right? You don't have to be a practicing brain surgeon. You can be the person becoming a brain surgeon. You don't have to be the fully experienced version of who you want to be. Decide. You've already got the answer within you. I know you do. And you've been feeling it for a very long time, but you've avoided because you thought you needed something else in order to validate it, to validate you that you belong. Permission granted. You don't need it. So, my friend, that is your work this week, to decide exactly who you are, stick with that identity, and then go allow other people to experience it. And let them know. They don't have to keep faking it. They can just be it. My friend, have an amazing week. No more imposter syndrome for you. You belong. And I'll see you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend so they too can become more confident. You can also help more people find the show by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. And if you want to become a more confident queer with support from yours truly, head to coachalexray.com or use the link down in the show notes. I'm looking forward to working with you.